I have some data here, so I'll just roll through this quickly. I apologize if I'm looking down so I can know what I'm actually showing you, but we'll talk about this and I'll leave a few minutes for questions. First of all, obviously we know we lost the election. This is the outcome for the Republicans across the board. You can see that Donald Trump, Martha McSally, and Debbie Lesko all dominated in Arizona's 8th congressional district. You can see here the votes for the Democrats. And there's a couple things I'm going to bring your attention to. Number one is, if you look at the votes, you can see at the top a significant drop off from president to Congress where you get to me. A difference of over 17,000 votes. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But one thing I want all of you volunteers to be proud of is if you look at that percentage, Joe Biden at 41.3, and you look at Muscato at 40.4, we were 0.9% away from the now elected president of the United States. And we're going to talk about some of the disadvantages that we had compared to the two other gentlemen on this sheet. I went ahead today, took the time, and I broke down LD1 for everybody to see here in regards to the 8th congressional district. I'm a visual guy. I work in video, and somehow I have too much time on my hands with 2 kids. So pardon me for all these graphics. Here's LD1. On the left, unfortunately, are the votes for Debbie Lesko. The darker turquoise, teal, whatever you want to call it, are the votes for myself. This is the 9 precincts. I broke it down, if you can see it there at the bottom. In total, Debbie Lesko received 22,911 votes in LD1, and we received 10,434. To say the least, it was a butt kicking, but I'm going to break this down a little further here, and I'm going to also give us reason to appreciate the work that we did, because it's important that each and every one of you understand that we actually did an incredible job in this race despite the results. And I'm going to use some of this data to show you. I also took the time, broke down the precinct undervotes. So I had earlier pointed out the difference between the voters who voted for president and the voters who voted for Congress. Those of you who are not familiar with what an undervote is, it means that somebody with a ballot, whether at the poll or by mail, they checked president, they checked Senate, and then they looked at Congress and they said, what the heck is that? Or I'm not going to vote for that. And they moved on. These are by precinct. In total in LD1 for the congressional 8 race, 1,532 voters did that out of the 17,500. I also wanted to compare for you, and this is where I want to show you and thank you for our hard work as a team, the difference between 2018 and 2020. I think you'll enjoy this. On the left is Hero, and on the darker blue is our campaign. You can see that in each and every one of the 9 precincts in LD1, we increased our vote by pretty good numbers. The total was 2,238 votes that we increased, which was up 27.3% from the 2018 election. So as you're going to see here a little bit later, LD1 reflected the overall campaign in votes. We actually did a little bit better here. And I do attribute some of that because we know a significant portion of my votes had to come from Republicans and independents. Some of that did actually come from, in LD1, my position on gun ownership, something to consider in this district. I also put together this is the undervotes if they were added to our actual votes. Now, some of this is a little speculative, but we know based on the votes with the GOP and not seeing the fall off, that the undervotes were significantly from the side of those registered as Democrats. If you take the undervotes, let me get this. Yep. So if you take the undervotes and you add them to the increased votes that we had in LD1, we would have actually increased the vote by 3,770 votes, somewhere around there, which could possibly led to an increase of 45, 46% compared to the previous cycle. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication to this effort, because this is part of the process. Rome wasn't built in a day, and replacing Debbie Lesko, we knew wouldn't be either. Now, here's something I also want to show you. This is Debbie Lesko, 2018 to 2020. As you can see, on the left is her 2020, and on the right is where she was in 2018. She significantly increased her vote in the 2020 election. Her increase was 49.99%, 50%, okay, an increase of 7,600 plus votes. I can tell you, after the election, I sat down with some of my contacts on the opposite side and asked them what exactly happened in certain areas. I was made aware that Donald Trump had 4 presidential field operations running rampant in CD8, one of them in Anthem. This is a direct result of investing the money and infrastructure in an elite field operation for an election that you not only want to win, but you want to dominate. Make no mistake about it, the President of the United States tried to win Arizona through CD8, CD4, and CD5, where the congressional candidates were highly underfunded and lacked the organizational structure to compete. So I just wanted to show you that here. Overall, between 2018 and 2020, we increased the vote by more than 35,000. Okay, so that's a substantial amount. It's an increase of 26% from 2018. And those of you who are around for 2018, you know that this district had national attention and a lot of money in 2018. So it's not like we did this off of nothing. We actually built off of something that was high powered in 2018. And as you're going to see, if you take those undervotes in our congressional district and you add them to Mark Kelly and you add them to myself, look at how well we would have actually done. This is simply Democrats filling in a third bubble. I mean, I'm showing you this as a thank you, but I know it's frustrating. Trust me, as a candidate and as volunteers, it's frustrating to see all the work that goes in. So we need to be able to communicate better to these voters. You got to go all the way down the ballot. Every race, every vote matters. And I added a little bit there, the bottom right corner. It would have led to an increase of 52,000 votes plus, which would have been an increase overall of 39%. Again, thank you, each and every one of you. You can lead a horse to water, doesn't mean they're going to drink. You can lead a voter to a ballot, same thing. Okay. Now, the positive news, take a deep breath. The Cook report, you've heard about redistricting. You can be assured that the delays are going to be on purpose to affect things like this. Okay. But this is Dave Wasserman posted to his Twitter with the Cook report. There are ways, specifically our district was mentioned, that things will be more fair. Okay. I don't want you to get the idea that it's going to be 100,000 R's and 100,000 D's, because I can guarantee you that's never going to happen. Okay. In this past election, 201,000 Republicans voted in CD8 for president. For president, 120,000 Democrats voted. Joe Biden was at an 81,000 voter disadvantage for his race. Now, we estimate about 15,000 of those Democrats did not vote in the congressional race. And if you take a couple thousand of Republicans who didn't vote, we were looking at a 90,000+ disadvantage in our race. Based on the percentage of Democrats that actually don't vote Democrat, we were somewhere around 95 to 100,000 Democrats that voted in our race. We got to just shy of 171,000 votes. So I want you to understand that your efforts were not in vain, and that our campaign message and our efforts together as a team were able to convert a historic amount of Republican and independent voters to support the Democratic candidate. And moving forward in the future, regardless of redistricting, we have to do that again. And if we have support, we can do it better, and we will do it better. That's my spiel. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great. Thank you, Michael, for that information. Lots of great data as well. And just for the sake of everyone else on the line, in LD1, the area that covers CD8, we have a total of 6,900 Democrats available. So the good part is we did influence some independents there, and we had a 90.3% turnout, which is pretty good as well. So we always have something to overcome, but the main message, I think, always with all of this will be, we have to do our part. I know we're small. I know we're outnumbered 3-1 with Republicans, but we still have to do our part to try to get that number from 10 or 11,000 to 15,000 next time, and 20,000, and so on and so forth. So that's why we want to make sure we continue to involve Michael in these meetings, because it's critical.
I'm going to communicate to you. You will always get transparency and honesty from me, and I'm always going to be fighting for us. West Valley is my concern. If somebody wants to step up and knock me off of being the nominee, God bless them. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to get this job done. And until that day comes where I'm no longer the nominee, it is my personal responsibility to look out for this district. And that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. You can go to my website. You can support us, volunteer. We're building the war chest right now. Chris, thank you. LD1, thank you. You have my commitment for as long as I'm breathing. So my best to you and your families.